Eric Muad with Muad.com. It is about 3 hours to go before the market close, and it is April 23rd, 2015. Let's take a look at the markets here. We are looking at the NASDAQ doing its best to follow through after yesterday's close above recent daily closing highs. Let's begin by taking a look at the NASDAQ and I'll have some stock ideas in this video. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. We can see here that the weekly is now showing a breakout above 5,026.42. As long as that's the case, we have to hold our nose and continue playing the upside. So ask questions later, play what is in front of you. If the market is breaking out, we have to hold our nose and continue looking for breakout candidates. That's the only thing you can do. Even though we can see that on the weekly RSI, we continue holding this trend line here. So yes, we haven't broken above this trend line, but for now, I think the price breakout takes precedence. Take a look at the daily for the NASDAQ. This is day number 2 of an attempt of yesterday. It closed above the previous daily closing high of 5,026. Now it's attempting a day number 2, which is great. So really you have to take what the market is giving you, and for now it's breaking out. You have to play that. Ask questions later. If you take a look at the daily RSI, we see that we are now above this line, and that by itself is another reason why we have to assume there could be more upside there. If we take a look at the monthly chart, so let's take a look at monthly chart for the NASDAQ, and we can see that on the monthly, we've been above the previous monthly closing high for a good portion of this last couple of weeks there. So this breakout continues to be in play on the NASDAQ monthly. That's a very strong looking breakout. Obviously, we have to respect the potential for upside as long as the market is holding above 69.1. We take a look at the Dow weekly, and the Dow weekly is doing its best to break out above the monthly buy point we've been watching of 18,140. And so if it can stay above that, move above that level, that would be another major market breaking out. Right now it's struggling a little bit, but if it can find its way above that, that would be confirmation of potential upside in this market. Of course, on the hourly, on the RSI, on the weekly, we are still watching this either for a breakout, for a major move higher, or the market stalls. Right now, I'm gonna go with what the NASDAQ is doing, which is breakout, and we can ask questions at some point if we see resistance, but for now, market looks good. Dow Transports, which was almost breaking down below this trend line, almost breaking down below this line of here, which was at the level where it was testing the 2015 weekly closing lows. So that held. This trend line also held, and now we are seemingly moving back above the 10-week moving average. That's really good. We are also above the line that I've been talking about, this line here. And this line goes back to this breakout, as you've been as I've been discussing the last couple of weeks, and this market has been using this line for an excuse to bounce, and now we are holding here, which is this lows. So there's another reason why the market could be moving higher also. Now if we take a look at the transports, let's take a look at the daily transports daily. And we can see that on the transports, right now there's an argument that can be made that this is a breakout on the RSI here. So that looks like a breakout. Even though, and I need to point this out, we might actually just be running into resistance, which is where it's been finding resistance here. So there's a breakout, yes, but we immediately run into resistance. As you can see, all these highs correspond with that level on the RSI. All these highs hit that level and stalled. So depending on what happens, that could also be another point of resistance. But for now, we just have to play what's in front of us, which is a breakout on the NASDAQ. And I'll show you here that also the S&P 500. Take a look at the Dow Transports hourly. We were looking at this as resistance yesterday, but now we are above it. So on the hourly, we are seeing a nice RSI breakout right there. And as long as that's the case, this is a good market to start looking for reasons to continue being long. S&P 500 weekly right now above the prior weekly all-time weekly closing high of 2110. So 2110, market's above that. That's a good market. We have to respect the potential for even higher prices. Of course, we are back to this line on the wedge on the weekly RSI. The more the market starts moving above that wedge, the more we have to definitely think of this as being a good entry, and markets should be recording higher prices in time. So of course, for this to work, all these markets have to be above the prescribed breakout levels on the weekly. Now S&P 500 daily, we can see here that it is now above the previous daily closing high of 2115. So as long as it is breaking out above that level, we have to respect this market. Also, if you take a look at the daily wedge here, if the market can again show strength by moving above that wedge, that would be a good indication of momentum. Now, as of right now, we've been covering the reasons why this market could be going higher. I want to show you a little bit of a caution here, or reasons why this could not work out, even though I don't think we should put too much weight on this yet. But on the Dow hourly, we haven't broken this resistance, and in fact we are back at this level here. So this could be a problem. Keep that in mind. On the Dow 30-minute chart, we are back at the resistance line on the Dow 30, which is here, and also a back test of this line, all to say that this is where the market is stalling right now. So there is your reason why it could not work. If we take a look again at the Dow Transports daily, and I discussed this a few minutes ago, this is where it could stall on the daily, this line here. So there's another reason to be cautious. And take a look at the S&P 500 hourly as another reason why the market could fail this breakout attempt. And it is because the S&P 500 hourly is coming back to resistance here, which is also being confirmed by this backtest line. All of them did come and find resistance there. So again, on the S&P 500 hourly, this is where there's going to be either a breakout for another surge higher or resistance, and now we start probably seeing the market pull back. So there you have good reasons why the market is strong and reasons why the market could stall. But you really have to take the breakout for now, because that's just, you don't know that the market is going to break out above the resistance lines. So given that, or before I do that, take a look at the USO. Now we're looking at crude oil, which is trading up about $2 at 58. So crude oil trading at 58, up about 3.5%, 3.3%. I go back to the USO. I'm personally not yet impressed, because we need to be above this line on the USO on the weekly. So the USO needs to do much more than what it's doing right now. It needs to clear this resistance short term. Number one, I have to say, I don't know why anybody would, well, I mean, I understand why, but there's a lot of resistance coming from all these sellers. All this, anybody who bought higher is looking to get out of this market as even as they can, or as close to even as they can. So anybody who bought in this range is not happy. Every time this stock comes to their level where they bought the stock, they are going to be selling. So there's a lot of overhead supply. is what it's called. So all these people here are not happy, and every time this thing moves higher, they sell it. They sell it every time because they want to get out as close to even as possible. So there's a problem whenever you are buying an instrument that has seen such a major sell-off. Anyway, if you take a look at the daily, as I discussed yesterday, what crude oil needs to do is to break out above recent daily closing highs on the USO of 19.9, I believe 94. If it can stay above 19.94, it suggests that it is finally clearing this level of resistance. And this is the 19.94 is the highest close going back to, in fact, for the entire 2015. So if it can stay above 19.94, maybe there's a chance for a nice move higher short term. Otherwise, I'm very skeptical about the potential, as I've been discussing the last couple of weeks there. All right, so let's take a look at the stocks in terms of the ideas on a breakout. All right, so if you're looking for a long idea, take a look at this name here. Maybe I got the wrong ticker. Actually, it's a similar ticker. It's not INCY, it is INSY. Very close there to making a mistake. But so INSY is what I'm talking about here. You can see that on the monthly it's breaking out. The buy point on the monthly, even though it might seem a little bit extended, is here at 60.06. So that's the breakout. The stock is already a buy. RSIs are trading at all-time highs on the monthly, which is absolutely fantastic. And the MACD is already above zero and close to making another high. In fact, we can say the orange line on the MACD is already trading at all-time highs here. So the MACD looks good. So there is one on a breakout perspective. This one, INSY, above 60.06. The other one is in the same space, biotech, KYTH there, and it is breaking out or attempting to come close to a breakout, which is here on the weekly. But we can go to the monthly to get our buy point, and you can see that it is already above the prior all-time monthly closing high. So the monthly is already breaking out above the prior all-time monthly closing high of 49.97. This one is a buy, a timely buy, now that it is above that breakout level. Of course, you'd like to see it move the MACD or the RSI above 69.1, and you'd also like to see what the MACDs are doing exactly what they need to do. MACDs are trading at all-time highs and close to breaking out to 3-year highs again. So here's another idea, a little bit more timely, and also I can say it's timely because we haven't broken out above the recent weekly closing high. So this one is timely, having just broken above previous monthly closing highs at 49.97. If you'd like to play a little bit low price stock, wow, FIVN is the next idea, technology, and this one is breaking out here on the weekly, the buy point there being 5.63. If it can stay above 5.63, that's a good breakout there on this weekly chart. Nice breakout. I'm using the weekly. Why? Because it doesn't have a mature monthly chart. So the weekly is the next level, and so that's a nice breakout. Very timely buy. We are looking at the RSI moving to fresh all-time highs and also moving above 61.8 for the first time ever. So this is a good candidate if you're looking for a slightly lower price stock, and we can see that the MACDs are already breaking out. As you can see, the MACDs are already trading at all-time highs, above zero, all-time highs on the MACDs, and also above zero. So the MACDs on this one look great. The other one is a little bit of a momentum chaser. This one has already moved. It's already up this month about 146%. So be careful with this one. But if you're chasing the momentum here, it has had at least 2 days of rest. Let's take a look at the 6-month daily. This one is for those of you who'd like to chase momentum, because sometimes stocks like this can have an amazing run. So the buy point here is right there at 4.62, which is this daily closing high. If it moves back below 4.62, you want to get out. And looks good in my opinion, with a fresh breakout after a couple of days of rest, which is 2 or 3 days of rest. Minimum is 2 days. So this is a good entry if you like to own an instrument that could be up, you know, a couple hundred. Well, let me not say that. If you want to own a stock that has already done well short term and could have some little bit of a upside short term. So this one is chasing momentum, but be careful if it moves below 4.62, you want to get out. I would like to conclude here by taking a look at another name that we've been watching closely last couple of weeks, I guess. And just to remind you, yes, it's slightly higher from where we were talking about it as a buy, but keep in mind that the buy point on this one has yet to be broken, which is 44.27 on the monthly. If it can break out above 44.27, that's the ideal buy signal. The reason why it's the ideal buy signal is because it will be taking out this recent monthly closing high. RSI would be making all-time highs on the monthly, and MACDs are already at all-time high. So again, for FEYE, the ideal buy point has yet to take place, which is for it to move above 44.27. Before I leave, I want to take a look at the hourly charts on the Dow. We can see that the Dow right now a little bit off the highs, showing some levels of resistance there. Dow 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, you can see that we seem to be a little bit of stalling here short term, and the S&P 500 hourly showing a little bit of a stall around this level. So maybe we might stall here for now, but I say as long as the NASDAQ is holding above 5,026.42, which means it's breaking out, let's give the market the benefit of the doubt for now, unless it moves back below that number. For now, as long as the NASDAQ daily is breaking out above 5,026.42, let's give the market the benefit of the doubt. Now, if the hourly charts do show resistance, and if the NASDAQ fails to break out and is below that line or the breakout level, then we have to be very cautious and turn a little bit negative. If the NASDAQ weekly fails and it is below this level of 5,026, then we can turn negative. If the S&P 500 fails to hold breakout and is below 2,110, if it moves back below that number, then we have to turn negative. But for now, we have to play the bullish potential. Eric Moa, good luck, peace, and blessings. Woo!